Welcome, and thanks for joining us for today's Thinking Maps webinar, introducing Right from the Beginning and Beyond. Today, I want to show you how you can build an effective, comprehensive writing program using Thinking Maps as a foundation. Writing skills are more important than ever for success in the classroom and beyond. In our information economy, the ability to clearly express ideas in writing is necessary for the vast majority of career opportunities. Writing is now a gatekeeper skill that can open up new worlds of opportunity for our students or close doors for those who do not master the skills. We believe that every child deserves to grow up and claim a place of their choosing at the table. Writing skills can help them earn that place. Now, assigning writing is not teaching writing, but too often that's all we're doing. While students may complete a lot of writing assignments, we're not teaching them the foundational thinking skills necessary for them to be successful. The vast majority of teachers were not taught to teach writing in their credentialing program. Skills like thinking critically about their topic, developing their ideas, and organizing their thinking prior to starting to write are not necessarily focused on. These are also skills that must be explicitly taught, not just assumed. And they are absolutely foundational to everything students write in every genre and content area. Too often, the way we teach writing results in narrow ideas about what good writing looks like the 5-paragraph essay. Now, this can be a very useful and effective type of writing. However, when we reduce writing to a formula like this, students do not learn how to organize thinking on their own. And when they come up against something that does not fit into that formula, they're lost. Without developing thinking skills and flexibility, they're not going to be able to write for the many purposes and audiences that they're required of them in their school career and throughout life. When we talk about effective writing, what we're really talking about is effective thinking. If I know how to organize my thoughts, getting them down on paper is much easier. Now that's where Right from the Beginning and Beyond comes in. Right from the Beginning and Beyond teaches you to be a writing teacher, something that many teachers were not taught to do before they entered the classroom. And once you're a teacher of writing, it doesn't matter what programs come into your classroom in your teaching career. You can teach it. And if we teach students to become writers, it doesn't matter what the assessment is, they can write. Right from the Beginning and Beyond is a school-wide comprehensive writing program designed to be used across all grade levels and content areas to help students improve thinking and writing skills. The 8 brain-based visual patterns that are the core of Thinking Maps help students make their thinking visible. They have to know what they think and how to express those thoughts effectively, and this is what the maps do to help them. Thinking Maps work because they are based in brain research. And we know that this approach works. Hattie's research looked at what educational strategies and practices not just help students academically, but actually accelerate student achievement. Now, we know the use of visuals does that, but if you really want to bump it up, then you have to understand Thinking Maps are so much more than graphics, because you can see what children are thinking. You can see the writing process. Graphics are effective, but the real power of Thinking Maps is the impact they have on all of these zone of desired effect strategies here, metacognitive strategies, professional development. Writing programs are in the zone of desired effects, but when you layer on metacognition and the ability to explicitly teach students how to think, the impact is even greater. Right from the Beginning and Beyond is a comprehensive writing program that builds on the foundation set by Thinking Maps. It explicitly teaches teachers how to teach writing using Thinking Maps to help students deepen and organize their thinking. It is comprehensive. It's a complete writing program, and it is grounded in the maps. It is used across the whole school at all grade levels and in all content areas. And this helps students internalize the thinking processes necessary for effective writing and allows them to apply them flexibly for a variety of writing purposes. Now, It teaches all of the essential elements of writing. There's very little disagreement among writing programs as to what makes a piece of writing a high quality piece of writing. It must be focused and have a main idea. It must have support and elaboration for the ideas that are present in the composition. It needs to be well organized. It must be coherent. It must have conventions that don't interfere with readability. And most importantly, it must have voice. All of these criteria are present no matter what domain of writing we're asking kids to work in. And we work with these essential criteria from kindergarten all the way through their school career. Setting the stage is the first step in developing a school-wide common targeted writing focus in your school. This training calibrates your staff so that all teachers understand the components that make a quality writing program. Even if every teacher in your school is a fabulous writing teacher, right now there are probably 6 different writing programs that your students are going through because each teacher has put together their own way of teaching writing. And that makes it very difficult for there to be the layering and consistency that kids need. Setting the stage lays that groundwork and allows all teachers to be on the same page. Now, by the same page, I don't mean page 3 on March 3rd. I just mean using the same strategies, structures, and language that allows children to have consistency throughout their school career. In setting the stage, we talk about the components of what makes a quality writing program. We delve deeply into the characteristics and goals for each of the grade levels, kindergarten through 8th grade. We give examples of the essential criteria from kindergarten to 1st to 7th to 8th. And we have many, many, many lessons, each designed to address the 6 essential criteria at different developmental levels. Thinking journals are encouraged as a way to allow teachers to start dipping their toe in cross-curricular writing, which is a challenge for many teachers. And there's a section there for observation tools and support for administrators and coaches as they begin their journey of implementation. Now, the components of any quality writing program should include these, but these are the components of Right from the Beginning and Beyond. For years, teachers went through the writing process with their students. They would brainstorm, they would do a rough draft, they would revise, edit, and publish. And the students would go through that cycle continuously throughout the year. Now, unfortunately, how they are assessed is with prompt writing, which is a completely different muscle. Prompt writing involves the students having a prompt. They are not allowed to look at other resources, to talk to other children, to not walk through the process, to not revise and edit with the ending in a published piece. And so focused modeled writing is explicit instruction on how to teach children to write to a prompt. And prompt writing is a life skill. It is not a testing skill, it is a life skill. Students are going to be asked to write to a prompt to get most jobs that they apply for. Mini lessons are where you actually teach writing. It's focused on the 6 essential criteria, and they're reflective of the students in that particular classroom in that particular year. So there are many to choose from so that you can differentiate and personalize the learning for the students in your classroom. We use developmental analytic rubrics that give teachers and schools and coaches and administrators data to actually determine where their students are strong and where they need help, and therefore allows them to tailor their mini lessons, particularly for the students in that room that year. Now, the writing process is important. You do not want the pendulum to swing all the way to the other side and suddenly all you do is prompt writing. A balanced writing program is just that. It's balanced. So you need to include other types of writing. There should be poetry, the other standards that are addressed in the local state standards. And this covers writer's workshop so that there's a balance of prompt writing, unassisted writing, self-selected writing, a real comprehensive ability for students to have opportunities to write in many different ways. There's also a self-assessment of implementation. This allows teachers and administrators to kind of take the pulse of where they are in the implementation of the program as they make their way through the process. Additional training models provide in-depth exploration of teaching the core writing genres. So there's narrative, expository informational, argumentative, and response to text. Teachers who go through the full program will be fully prepared to teach all tested writing genres. 6th to 8th grade is where the focus on argumentative begins. However, this manual, as all of the training modules, provide the teacher with K through 8 in the same book. There isn't a narrow focus where you only get 2nd grade materials if you're a 2nd grade teacher, because as we know, students do not all arrive at the same place in the same year. Therefore, teachers will always have to differentiate their instruction and address the wide range of writing skills in their classroom. Having all of those grade levels in one book allows teachers to push their students who are ready for more and go back and address the students that are struggling. Right from the beginning and beyond is effective. It works. It builds a whole school culture of effective writing that lays a solid foundation for students of all backgrounds and ability levels. So let's look at what causes student writing to improve in a school. Teachers have to have the knowledge and skills related to writing, but they all need to be on the same page. They all have to be using a similar approach so that the students aren't getting gaps in their instruction and aren't bouncing from teacher to teacher that has a different approach. Students have to have the knowledge and skills and confidence related to writing. Many students have no idea why they're a good writer or why they're a bad writer. And most of them feel that they're a good writer if they write a lot and they have neat handwriting. They can also get different messages year to year depending on what that particular teacher focuses on. Now, teachers also have to be aware of the K-12 continuum. I need to know where my kids are going and where they're coming from, and it allows me to address all of the needs in my room. Teachers need to build upon and extend prior writing instruction. I don't have time at the beginning of the year to teach you how I teach writing versus how last year's teacher taught you. I need to start teaching writing on the first day of school and end teaching writing on the last day of school. I need to use analytic rubrics so that I can plan for my instruction. I'm not just going to use standards-based rubrics, which I use for my progress reports, but I need to get into the nitty-gritty of what my students are doing well and what they're not doing well so that I can go and meet them and move them forward. And of course, there's always an expectation of high writing achievement for all of my kids. Right from the beginning and beyond addresses all of these elements to elevate writing skills for all students. It is aligned with the Common Core standards. It has been carefully designed to ensure that the teachers will be able to address all of the standards and prepare students for the kinds of writing they will face on standardized writing assessments. K through 12 has 3 branches of writing that are expected to be addressed. Kindergarten through 6th grade, each branch is given equal weight. The weight shifts slightly in high school so that there's less of an emphasis on narrative and more of an emphasis on the other 2 branches. However, kindergarten through 6th grade, the expectation is that each branch will be given equal focus. For narrative, there's personal narratives and there's imaginative narratives. And in that, we have the narrative binder. We also have response to text, which acts as a companion piece to each branch of writing. Writing and reading are interchangeable. The better the kids read, the better they will write. The better they write, the better they will read. Therefore, any writing program that does not include an emphasis on reading and reading at a deep level will not prepare the students adequately for what they're expected to do. The next branch is informational explanatory. This is where they're writing across their day in math, in science, in social studies. You'll find that branch of writing in the expository informative manual. And again, our companion piece, response to text. In that manual, there's an entire section on reading informational text because the assessments that the students face are often as much a reading assessment as they are a writing assessment. If I cannot read the text, I cannot respond to it. The last branch is argumentative. And although opinion writing is not an argumentative form of writing, it is actually an expository form of writing, it is found under this branch because it is the precursor to the formal argument. In 6th grade, the students start to make steps towards learning how to write a formal and an evaluative argument. Because opinion writing is an expository form of writing, however, you will find that training in our expository informational manual. And again, the companion piece of response to text, because the students are asked to write opinions not just about topics, but about literature. And that can be found in that manual. Now, one of the biggest challenges that teachers are facing with all of these branches of writing now expected to be addressed, kindergarten through 12th, is their inability to fit it all in their writing block, in their traditional writing block. Right from the beginning and beyond supports teachers in understanding how to start spilling out of that writing section of their day and to start writing throughout the day, having more than one piece of writing happening in their classroom at a time. For example, they might be writing a narrative piece in their writing block, reading deeply in a language arts series and responding in a short constructed response, and they might be doing research and working on an informational report in their science class. They might even be doing a compare and contrast in math between perimeter and area. This program allows teachers to start to begin to address all of the writing needs of the students throughout the day and throughout the year. Right from the beginning and beyond is scaffolded. It scaffolds instruction across the grade levels. Strategies are developmentally appropriate at each grade level, and skills build on each other in a logical progression as students grow. Every teacher is in charge of 1/13, kindergarten through 12th grade, 1/13 of a student's writing proficiency. The expectation is that when teachers are leaving the training for Right from the Beginning and Beyond, they understand their 1/13 for narrative, their 1/13 for informational explanatory, and their 1/13 for opinion writing. Once you understand your 1/13, then you can take responsibility and make sure students are prepared as they move on to the next grade level. Now, if we think of compositions, writing compositions, as building and constructing their thinking, let's use that analogy and help the kids with it as well. So knowledgeable contractors build structurally sound and beautiful houses, just like knowledgeable students build structurally sound and effective stories. Building a strong foundation at the early grades and building on that foundation over time allows students to approach any writing assignment with confidence. So you start with the structure. After structure, you start layering on strategies. And from strategies emerges their unique style and voice. So we start at the early grades with the foundational skills. In kindergarten, the kindergarten teachers have the blueprints for where they're going, and their job is to clear the lot. Now, as we know, some kindergarten students come in with a foundation poured and a designer on site, and other students come in and their lot is on a cliff with boulders and requires special equipment to clear it. But their job is to make sure that that lot is cleared and ready to go. Now, in first grade, their job is to pour the foundation. That means that their job is to get that strong, high-quality sentence in place. You do not want them to leave without that strong sentence. And you want to go strong before long. When students write a simple sentence, your next step isn't to have them write an additional simple sentence. It's to move them to a compound or a combined sentence with descriptive language. What happens to a house that doesn't have a strong foundation? It falls down. So that first grade year is incredibly important. In the middle grades, we focus on developing strategies that will help them be more effective writers. They start to have all the components that make a house livable. So in second grade, they begin to frame the house. I should be able to recognize that a composition in second grade is a narrative, or I should be able to recognize it as an opinion piece or an informational piece. It has been fleshed out and has the characteristics that tell me what each one is. However, it isn't until third that I really make that house livable. It has all the pieces that it needs to have a functioning composition, a well-structured composition. And finally, fourth grade, all the way through high school and beyond, we help them find their unique style and voice, adding the decorative elements and finishing touches that turn a functional house into a beautiful and unique home. Let's look at what it might look like in kindergarten. So the narrative writing goal for kindergarten is that students will draw a discernible picture focused on a single event. Details in kindergarten are in their drawing. Drawing is writing and writing is drawing in kindergarten. As they move into the upper grades, details are in their words, but at this grade level, it's in their picture. The story or event is communicated through print, which of course depends on the developmental level of the child. So we start to introduce those narrative elements. A character, setting, an event are all represented, along with at least one sentence with inventive spelling that tells what is happening. Now, you can't have frou-frou. What is frou-frou? In kindergarten, it's floating hearts and diamonds in the sky. Why do we focus on that right out the gate? Well, because we have students in high school that are still off prompt, and that is a problem. So as the year progresses, the line is raised and students start to learn that the message is in the print, not in the picture. And the picture falls by the wayside. We use the drawing to get to the writing. And here is the standard. Use a combination of drawing, dictating, and writing to narrate a single event or several loosely linked events. Let's move to third grade. So in third grade, they're writing multiple paragraphs on a single topic. Each major event will have a topic sentence and supporting details and must have a clear beginning, middle, and end. So we have an opening paragraph. We move them through events with transitional words and phrases, and we develop that idea with support and elaboration, details that make that event come alive. As the students work their way through their story or their narrative, they close out with not a restatement of the opening, but a wish, a hope, or desire in order to provide a sense of closure to the reader. This addresses our standard in third grade. Let's move all the way up now to what it might look like at a middle school level. They write autobiographical incidents. See how far they've come. Look at how they prepare for this. So they have to take a significant moment in their life and they set the scene. They identify key people and main events, and it becomes a much more developed composition. Each one of those boxes does not translate into a single paragraph. These will translate into multiple paragraphs depending on the student's event and organization. And here we have the standards. You'll see the strategies that we teach highlighted in red as they are in the standard. Now, right from the beginning beyond is structured, but structure is not formula. Right from the beginning beyond gives students a powerful, flexible structure for writing. It helps students internalize the skills needed for effective writing. So from now, kindergarten, all the way through grad school, students will open, move through logically, and close out. How many paragraphs are in the body depends on the prompt, the text, the research they've done, and the student's own organizational plan. However, you will always have an opening. So if I get a prompt that is an informational prompt, I should have various informational openings that I can pull from. And then each paragraph addresses the topic and gives facts to support that topic and closes out, not a restatement of the opening. If I have an opinion piece or an argumentative piece, I must make my opinion or a claim in my opening and have various ways I can do that. Then each paragraph in the body, the number does not matter, is the reasons for my opinion or my claim with evidence to support it, and a closing that does not restate the opening. If it's a narrative, I should have multiple ways that I can open a narrative. Work my reader through a series of events, bringing those events alive with detail and closing it out with a sense of closure. Again, it has a structure, but the body of the paragraph is very flexible. Right from the beginning and beyond is supported. We make sure teachers and administrators have the sustained, ongoing support they need for successful program implementation. This is not a one-and-done PD model. It is an ongoing process of whole school change. We provide checklists to help administrators and coaches assess their teachers at each individual grade level and where they are in their implementation. We also give them the tools they need to use data to really identify opportunities for improvement and set goals. Let's look at what some of our customers are saying about right from the beginning and beyond. The evidence is in the results we are seeing with real customers. You can access all of our customer highlights on our website at thinkingmaps.com. This school district focused on the use of thinking maps for writing. They implemented the maps with fidelity and saw an increase in student achievement. This district, this is from the assistant superintendent, talked about that their scope and sequence gave them the what it is that they teach, but right from the beginning and beyond gave them the how. And they again saw a very strong increase in their students' achievement. I want to thank you for your time. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to us at tmwebinars@thinkingmaps.com. Thank you.